right, welcome back to Sunrise. Thanks for staying with us. Now it is time for Money Masterclass, and in this week's edition, our financial guru Carlton takes over to explore a hot topic of debate: house can skate pan it all? Home ownership versus vehicle ownership, exploring the viral phrase which reflects a growing sentiment that a vehicle might actually be more beneficial than owning a home. Carlton, you get to go by house can skate pan it all?
Let's find out this morning. Good morning, everybody. How are you both doing?
Good morning, Carlton.
Wonderful. I hope you're both doing well. Thinking your top is everything this morning.
Oh, thank you, Jane Michelle, the stylist. I'm telling you.
But this morning we're asking the important question. Can it really skate on a toll?
No.
Let's find out this morning. So this has been a long-standing issue or an area of conversation for a little while.
Yeah.
But in recent times, a little bit more controversial because it's now in social media spaces a little bit more.
Yeah.
But which is right? And there's no right answer. And I'll ask both of you at the end of class, what do you think is more beneficial?
Gotcha.
But my thoughts, the reality is both of these things are assets. And that is just to get some myths out of the way. Car is an asset, house is an asset. Let's look at them individually this morning. Number one, house tends to be an appreciating asset. So it generally goes up in value. Compared to a car, which is also an asset, but it tends to depreciate in value. So it's a depreciating asset. Cars will lose about 11% to 15% in value once you drive it off the lot, and generally about a 7 to 11% again in value every year, depending on how you treat your car, how you carry your car, etc. On the flip side, though, houses generally tend to increase in assets in value, as I mentioned earlier. Over the last 10 years, real estate in Jamaica has appreciated between 28 to 52% in value. So, for example, apartments have increased in value by 28%. And townhouses and homes about 52%. So obviously this makes more financial sense at this time because of how it is that it is appreciating in value. Look at it now. As you repay a house, generally you get more equity in the transaction. You have more equity in the house to do other things. So think about that. House also is a potential long-term investment. So it depends on where you are in life and you know what you want to achieve. Number four, it's also a long-term commitment. So are you ready for a long-term commitment? A 30-year mortgage, sometimes a 20-year mortgage? Ask yourself those questions. Number five, with home ownership, it's a higher cost and a much longer and difficult process in getting a house. And jumping over on the car side, cars are generally more convenient and practical and easier to acquire. So if you are a young person at a young age, generally it's a little bit easier to go and get a car than it will take to go and get a house. It's a much shorter term commitment. And the ease to find your deposit, the ease to insure the car, the ease of doing those things, it's much more palatable for a young person. So you want to look at those things. But ask yourself the following questions before you jump into anything like this. Number one, do I need a car right now? Do I need transportation? Will this car help me to make more money to get to work? And if the answer is yes, chances are no, you may need a car before you go and jump for a house. Because if the car will help you to be mobile, convenience, you're doing your side hustles, you can get to work on time to make money to pay for something else, then generally maybe a house is right. A car is right for you right now. Number two, you want to ask yourself, which asset aligns more to my financial goals? Do I intend to grow financially? Do I want something that can benefit me in the long run? Am I 20 years old now, but I'm not thinking about the long term now? Or am I age 40 now, or 37 years old now, and getting a house right now will add to my value? You want to ask yourself those questions. What are my investment goals? Do I need exposure to real estate? If you don't need exposure to real estate and you already have enough investments, then chances are car may be more beneficial to you right now. And last thing, age and stage. How do I tell a 21-year-old person, do not get a car because you're going back to work, you need a car, but go ahead and get a house now? Are you practically able to get a house at 21? Maybe, but do you have the savings up front right now to go and do that? Those are important questions that you want to ask yourself before we start jumping and bashing person to say, don't own a car, or you have a car, but you don't live nowhere. I've heard those conversations before, but you want to ask those things. But my thoughts, you must have a wealth building mindset. And that will allow you to know which is right for you at what point in time. And number two, you must be willing to trade off for the longer term benefit. So for example, when I was about 20, 21 there, but I think in 1920, I bought a car. Did I own a house? No. Did I live anywhere? Not really. But I owned a car at that point in time. When the opportunity came up to own a home, I sold the car because I needed my deposit and I couldn't afford a car and a house at the same time. But the mindset was important at that point in time because I needed what? To build wealth. So I sold the car, got the deposit, put down on the property, and now I owned a home. Persons were saying, Carlton, you can't sell a car. We can't go on the end, so we got to touch the reward. We need the car.
Yeah.
But your mindset is what makes a difference in building. So at 21, when I decided to buy the property now, because I bought the car about 1920, somebody came up at 21 or 22 years old to buy real estate. I said, here what, let me sell this car because I cannot live in the car. The car can escape from the toll, but I need somewhere to sleep as well at night. So I sold the car and bought the real estate. And over time, the real estate that was valued $10 maybe a couple of years ago is now $50. So it makes more financial sense at that time. So your thought, your wealth building mindset will tell you how it's that you move forward in deciding if a car is right for you or a house at this point in time, and which is right. And speaking of which is right, the cookies were right that we ate from the corner office tonight. So tune to CVMTV at 8 p.m. tonight. I see Paul clapping there and there. The cookies were exceptional. So as usual, as a top baker, I baked cookies and they were.
Oh, I'm sorry, Dennis. You got cookies?
I didn't
get any
get
cookies.
any.
I don't know.
cookies.
I heard about
I
cookies.
sent
I'm
cookies.
sorry.
Oh, I tasted nothing.
This
You
is-
need to- you got cookies?
This is breaking
You got
news for
cookies?
me.
You got cookies? Oh, I didn't
But
get any
tune
cookies.
This is
in
breaking
tonight
news for me.
at 8 p.m. on CVMTV for corner office. You do
Cookies.
not want to miss this
One
tonight.
cookies, we know, anyway.
Car or house? Which one do you think first?
It depends on where you are in your life. I think younger people are more, their focus is on mobility. As you get older, your focus is on stability.
Yeah,
so, I
absolutely.
mean, I think it depends.
And especially for a woman, I think a car is really important, as we've seen, especially now. It really does help with safety.
I would say, as a man, you could say the same thing, but you know what? We need to exercise some mobility to the break.
Thank you so much, Money Master Carlton. On the other side of the break, we step into the Sunrise Insurance Lounge. Speaking of house, to settle some claims, you don't want to miss it.